All right. Well, today we thought it would be fun to invite our kids on. And I think we might have some guest appearances by our husbands, possibly talking about. So I guess you could say today we are having our families come on to talk about some of their favorite books and to kind of get to know them a little bit.
Yeah. And we're really excited about it. It's so fun to hear from the kids from their perspective, like what their favorite books are. Sometimes as a mom, I'm like, oh, this is the kind of book my kid loves. And then they're like, well, but no, this is. So it's it's really fun and it's good to hear them sort of like give a synopsis of the book. So we're excited about that. And hopefully it will give other people ideas about books that kids love.
Yeah, this is a good time of year because if you have a child that age or whatever, you might, and you want to buy them a Christmas present, maybe.
Yeah, here's some ideas for sure. And I always think it's interesting to hear from the men what kinds of books they like. And one thing we wanted to inject in here too was the fact that you'll see this pattern that we're going to talk about a classic for a few episodes, depending on the classic. And then we'll have this sort of bonus episode in between, as sort of a break between the classics where we talk about other things. It's always going to be centered around books in one way or another, but it'll not be specifically talking about a classic. It'll just be something extra and bonus.
So yeah, I think it'll give people, like, if you're reading along with us, it could give you like a chance to start the next book or order the next book or find it at a secondhand store or whatever. Yeah, we have lots of ideas about things that we just love to talk about books.
Yes.
So we'll come up with lots of themes and ideas. And yeah, so since it's the week of Thanksgiving, I thought this would be a fun little bonus. And all the kids said yes.
Which was amazing. And we've talked before about how we have quite a few kids between us. There's 11 between us now. We're not going to hear from my 18-month-old. Although, sorry, he's actually 19 months old now. But if he could tell you, I know what book he would say.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. Because today we've interviewed half of the kids. So there's a lot of them. So we're going to do the rest next week. You should bring him on so we can see him. So you won't see him if you're listening, but if you're watching, you can see him. And you tell us his favorite book.
Okay, I will do that. That's a good idea.
Do that next week.
Perfect.
He's so cute.
But I will get him on here, and I'm going to see if I can track down the book that he loves, because his very favorite book is actually at the kid care where I work. Oh, no. So I'm going to see if I can maybe find it like at Target or Walmart or somewhere.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not a book you own.
Yeah. Welcome to this episode of Out of the Best Books, the podcast where we deep dive into classic literature and have conversations about what we've learned and discovered along the way. We love all things books and reading, and we want to share our love of the classics with you. We hope to inspire you to read along with us and join in the conversation. I'm Amity.
And I'm Laura. Let's get started. All right. So this is Sydney. She is almost 18, senior in high school. And she is our third child, second daughter. So, Sydney, tell us a little bit about you.
Some of my favorite things to do is I like to read, and I actually write some books. Probably not great ones, but I do write. And then I like going to Barnes & Noble. I also work at an ice cream store called Handles.
Awesome. I want to know what kinds of things you write. Like, what genre would you put your writing into?
It's more of like a fantasy romance kind of thing, but recently I've branched out into writing like a rom-com kind of thriller-ish.
Oh, that's cool.
This is new information to me.
Well, good. Exciting. We're learning all kinds of things. Okay, so I want to know what your go-to books are. So when you go to Barnes & Noble, what section are you browsing through?
Recently I have been looking in like the romance, like rom-com sections, but most of my reading career has been in the fantasy, like YA kind of books.
Awesome. And are there some authors off the top of your head that you're like, yes, I would read anything by that author?
Jennifer Armentrout. Colleen Hoover. She's always good. Trisha Levenseller. Really like her.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And something funny about her is she loves new books.
Like just the smell and feel and crispness.
So she goes to Barnes and Noble and she orders them, but like she doesn't let me go to the library to pick up books for her. They have to be new.
And no St. Vinny's for you, huh?
No thrifting. I hate thrift stores.
And she's also very like picky about loaning her books out.
That's true. If I really like a book, I'm the only one reading it.
Okay, last question really quickly, and then we'll get into the book that you want to talk about. How do you organize your books?
I recently had to get more bookshelves because I ran out of room. But my favorite series are like, it's kind of interesting. They're in like blocks. So I have like my favorite series and it's like ordered my favorites. And I kind of like do them by author and also by genre. So I have like a new bookshelf for like my rom-coms that I recently bought and things like that.
Cool. I like that. That's great.
You also have to look nice.
Yes.
So yeah, she like works so she can buy books.
That's true.
And I'm like, they're free at the library.
I get a
but
paycheck.
They're not brand new and free.
$50 at Barnes and Noble.
And yeah, her dad will be like, Sydney ordered some more books.
$50.
I love that though. What was that?
It's just like $50 every couple weeks.
Hey,
that's
not really not too bad. And it's not hard to do at Barnes and Noble.
That's true. One of my friends that I go to Barnes and Noble with, she has like the teacher discount right now. She lets me use it 20%.
Cool.
Yep.
I wonder if I could get that being a homeschooler.
Maybe. Do you buy books at real bookstores?
Yes, every once in a while, but it kills me because it's so expensive.
And recently too, I was looking at a book that I bought a long time ago that I was reading, and it cost like $10, and I was like, "What the heck?" They're like 18 now. What's this one?
Oh yeah.
17.
I know. No, like this book that we've been reading, that your mom and I have been reading. It's a copy, I think, from the 80s, and it was like $3.99, brand new.
Wow.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Sydney's gonna share her favorite book she's read this year. Hold it up.
Verity by Colleen Hoover.
I have heard so much about that. Kate, tell us about it.
It's probably one of the most thriller books that she's written. It's about this girl named Yolen who is a writer, and she takes on this job from writing the rest of a series that another writer has been like in an accident, so she's like paralyzed, and so she can't finish her book series. So she moves in to this family's house, and she's like writing the books, and she finds this like manuscript about this writer's life, and she's like reading it and finding out new things about their family and like their tragedies about their daughters and like all this thing. And her and the husband kind of have a little relationship going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little spin.
Yeah.
Not for her. Not for Colleen.
Not for Colleen Hoover.
Nope.
So it's so funny because I haven't read any of her books, but there are a few of her books in my house because Addie has started reading them. And I see her name everywhere. So what is her, like, is she kind of fantasy? You said this was more like realistic, but what does she typically write?
Her books, they're not like super intricate writing and all that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But they're like they're pretty simple, like easy reads, but they're like, they really grab at your heartstrings. They're like,
okay.
Character development and like, I think I have cried for one of our books at least, but yeah, they're more lighthearted normally.
Okay.
Like they do really get you feeling, but this one was very dark.
Oh.
She doesn't write fantasy, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's like romance.
Yep.
And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think when I've heard of Colleen Hoover, I haven't ever read one of her books, but Verity is the one that you hear about.
Like all the time. It's everywhere. So that's kind of, yeah, that's awesome that's been your favorite so far.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, Sydney. That was fun. And
yeah, awesome. Okay. So this is Matthew. Matthew is 13 years old and he's in 8th grade and he's a homeschooled 8th grader. And Matthew, do you want to tell us just a little bit about you and some of your hobbies, some things that you love? Here, come talk right into the microphone.
So I like basketball and Legos, and yeah, I don't know, and Christmas and camping. I like camping too. So yeah.
He's been playing Christmas music in our house since September 1st, I think.
Nope. It was like the middle of September.
Okay, sorry, it was mid.
Me too.
There you go, kindred spirits.
And like November 1st, the rest of my family said it's okay now. I was like, okay.
I've
it's
been waiting
acceptable. Yeah.
I know. Christmas movies start coming out like the end of October. And everybody's like, it's too early. I'm like, they wouldn't put them out if they was too early.
If there weren't tons of people that are going to watch them. So they watch the trend.
I love it. You got to keep doing it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it.
Okay, Matt, what is the kind of book that you usually gravitate towards?
I think that the book I really like the most is, or like
what kinds of books?
All kinds of books. Probably like detective books or like adventure books, that kind of thing.
Like, what's a really good series that you like right now?
Father Brown.
Oh yeah, especially because have you read all the original? Because they kind of went and like, I'm not going to say dumbed them down, but they took G.K. Chesterton's original work and turned it into books that were like maybe a little more readable for younger kids. But Matt got the whole original series and read those. They're really good.
Is that different than the Netflix Father Brown?
No, I mean, it's that Father Brown is based on G.K. Chesterton's Father Brown.
I've watched a couple of those. Maybe I should. I didn't know there were books.
They're really fun and funny. Yeah. Highly recommend.
Are they classics?
I would. Yeah. G.K. Chesterton, he's somebody that's like quoted all over the place. I've even heard him quoted in conference. And I would say, yes, at this point, Father Brown is definitely a classic. I think it was written like on the Netflix series, they make it like in the 50s, but I think he wrote it in the late 19th century. So
we should read one someday.
Yeah, we should. It'd be super fun. So anyway, what is your favorite book that you've read lately that you want to talk about?
Definitely Maniac Magee. I really like Maniac Magee.
You can hold it up.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Spinelli. Yeah, by Jerry Spinelli.
Let me think. It's by Jerry Spinelli, and it's just about this kid who just like he kind of becomes a legend because he does all like this stuff, like breaking into this, not breaking, I don't remember. Wait, isn't it like he unties his biggest knot and then he sits on this one guy's porch, which for some reason that was weird, and then he hits like a bunch of home runs, and I don't know.
He can run really fast.
Yeah,
it's like so random, but also it's a white kid going into a black neighborhood and kind of like becoming good friends with everybody in that neighborhood, and So it's good. It's a really fun story. Have you read it before?
No, but I've heard of him. What else has he written?
So he did that Star Girl one. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Like is it called Star Girl?
I think so. It's called Star Girl.
Yeah. So, and Matt was just commenting earlier. He was like, he's written lots of really random titled books, and they are, but he's really kind of like a different and fantastic writer. So
how did you find him?
Library.
I know, like Maniac Magee. We listened to Maniac Magee on audio book first, and we loved it. The narrator was fantastic, and so
what made me like it.
Yeah, and so then when we found the book, we're like, let's just get this because it was so fun. So
have you read other stuff by him or just that?
No, just this one, really.
Yeah, just that one so far.
Cool.
So, yeah. Okay.
Thank you for doing this with us. They're being like serious champs here. So this is Audrey. She is what we call our first baby, youngest baby. No, I don't know. She was the youngest for a long time. And she is, how old are you? She's almost 16. She'll be 16 in a couple of months. And we just went and got her driver's permit last week.
Awesome. How's that going so far?
Yeah, learner's permit.
Yeah.
She hasn't driven yet.
Okay.
So we're scared.
Okay. Well, you passed the test. That's the first step.
But
Are you excited to drive?
Okay, gotta talk. Are you excited to drive?
Sure. Yeah.
She didn't want to get her permit. And so when she didn't want to drive. And so when she finally said she would do it, we were like, okay. But my experience teaching Sydney was so bad that David's going to teach her, at least for a while, because I can't. I'm afraid she'll come out of the car crying if I'm in the car.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she's afraid of me too.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. So tell us a little, what are some of your hobbies?
Like drawing and writing and reading, I guess, but
yeah, she draws digitally. Awesome.
Okay. So you do like graphic design type of things?
I wouldn't call it that.
Okay. But drawing digitally.
What is it?
Well, it's just regular drawing, but on a computer, so the tools are different.
Oh, that's cool. So
I'm not making logos.
You're not making logos. Okay. Darn it.
I know, we needed her.
What kinds of things do you love to draw?
Just like my own characters and stuff. I'm still working on like being able to draw other people's characters, because like it's difficult to like adapting art styles and understanding like how they work and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Something I can't do at all.
Yeah, that's cool. I wish that you had some of your artwork to show the camera.
No.
That would be awesome.
No.
And what about your writing style?
What do you mean by that?
What kind of stuff do you like to write?
Fantasy. Yeah.
So and is that, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Is that kind of what you're drawn to as far as what you like to read is fantasy? Cool. Yeah.
So what was the series that got you, I know the answer to this, that first got you into fantasy? What opened your world up to those kind of books?
I don't know.
I do.
Well, I mean, I think I've just always been into fantasy, so I don't really remember what my introductory series was.
Can I tell the story? Because I remember.
Okay.
So you know how Oregon has Oregon Battle of the Books?
Yes.
And so I think
I liked fantasy before that.
Okay, well, I'll just tell the story anyways. So I think I don't know what grade you were in.
Second, third, one of those.
Third or fourth grade. And one of the books was the first Harry Potter book. And I was like, you should do Oregon Battle of the Books. You have a really good memory. You like to read. And she read a lot up till then. And she read the first Harry Potter book and forgot all the rest of the Obob books and just read straight through all the Harry Potter. Within like 3 months, she read all of them. You don't think that was the first fantasy you'd read?
No, because I remembered that one of the books was the first How to Train Your Dragon book, and I had already read that. And there was also this other book about like, no, that wasn't fantasy, but I liked fantasy before that. I don't know what, like it's just always been there. So
I was like, you need to read the other book. She's like, no, I'm just reading Harry Potter.
Well, I get that. I think all of our Harry Potter books are completely worn out, because that's what I was surprised that Matt didn't bring that one up, because that's a series that he has read over and over and over and over.
That's
and
crazy.
So they're worn out.
I don't think there's any books I've read over and over and over and over.
I know. Like there's some that I've read a couple of times, but not like that. So it's wild.
What were you gonna say?
I have a few that I've read a few times, but not like, not that much.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Audrey's good at? Binge watching television. So like, how many times do you think you watched The Office start to finish?
At least 10, but that was because I was hyperfixating on it for that year. So
okay, but still,
it was like
she's pretty good at it.
It was like the only thing. Yeah, you either watch it within a week or not at all. So that's
that's the way to do it. I've never watched a single episode of that.
Yeah, if I take a break in the show, it's just not gonna get finished ever unless I get interested in it again, which is pretty rare unless it's like a really long show.
Yeah, she got us into The Good Place too. You'd watch that a few times, right?
Oh yeah, big time. Quite a few.
She loves it. She does the same thing with books. Okay, tell us are you going to tell us your favorite book series? Or is this your favorite book you've read this year?
Oh, this isn't my favorite book I read this year.
Okay. This is a big surprise to you, Amity.
Okay.
Your all-time favorite series is
Wings of Fire.
Wings of Fire. How many books are there?
That's so fun. I see them everywhere.
Well, the main series is 15 books, but then there's a couple of like,
we'll just go with that.
I think they're called super editions, but I don't think that's what the author calls them. And then there's a couple of things called winglets, which is like really short.
She gets these books like we pre-order them before they come out.
Before they're even out in the general public. Okay.
One comes out like every year, right? Or about every year?
About.
Yeah, but
I think the series is like, I don't think the author is doing any more arcs, so.
But she we pre-order them, and the day they come out, she reads it, like the whole thing.
Yes. Okay.
Crazy.
So is that a series that you go back and reread? Or once you've read it, you're like, I've got it memorized, so it's fine.
Well, a few of the books I've reread, like my absolute favorites, but I don't go back and reread for every book.
Can you tell us a little bit about the series?
Actually, I did. No, I haven't reread every book, but sorry. Well, that's a little open-ended. Do you have a
Tell us a little bit about the first book.
So
like what's the sort of overarching idea? Like what
basically
the series?
Series is about dragons, obviously, but like they're basically people, but like they can fly and stuff, and like some of them breathe fire.
I wish I could do that.
Same.
Okay.
Isn't there like a queen dragon?
Well, there's multiple. Basically the premise of the first arc is that the main characters, there are 5 of them, one for each book. they're all in this prophecy to stop this war that's been going on for 20 years. And yeah. And so like they've been like raised like away from society, but then it's time. So yeah.
Do they come together then?
No, they were raised together.
Okay. But they're supposed to stop a war.
Yes, the Sandwing Queen Succession War basically were like so there's this queen of the Sandwings, those are like the desert dragons. She had 3 daughters. But then and the way that the dragon monarchy typically gets passed on is that a daughter or some other female relative would kill the current queen. It's dragons, so it's a little more violent than people, obviously.
I mean, they breathe fire and whatnot, so it's fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And but the queen died from other circumstances, so the 3 sisters like started arguing about who they wanted to become queen. And that sparked the war because like one of them Burn, she would have like she was the strongest and the oldest, so like she would have won an outright fight. The second lister, she was really smart, so she figured that so I think she was the one who proposed the war. She thought that was her like chance. The third one, I don't want to say a lot because spoilers, but she is my favorite. Her name is Blaze.
Blaze.
Yes.
Cool. So it's by, who's it by?
Sutherland.
Yeah, I think these are really popular.
Oh, they are.
I think they're super popular. Like I said, I see them everywhere. But so here's my last question. Do you think that they will, or that they even should make this into a series, like a movie series?
Do you mean movie or TV show?
Or like TV show?
Okay. So here's the thing. There was going to be a TV show that we were really excited about. It was on Netflix, but then there was this whole thing like the animation industry has a lot of issues because like it tends to get like underestimated and cut and kind of just like given the shorthand because it's typically viewed as children's media, even though like there's a ton of teen or adult animation.
Oh yeah.
And this one definitely would have been a children's one, but still it's a children's show, so it's viewed as less important. And or it might have been teens, I don't actually know, but it got cut.
Oh
yeah, it was supposed to come out this year, I think. So
bummer. Well,
so it would make a good series.
Maybe down the road.
Well, I hope so. We were really the people who were in charge of making the show. They were like really talented and they had made good great projects before, so it looked like it would have been good.
Yeah, dang it.
I just wish we had at least gotten like a little bit of information because I would love to see the animation style because
yeah, for real. That especially knowing the books and loving them as you do, like it would be so fun to see it on screen and see somebody else's ideas of how it should come together. So yeah.
Cool. That reminds me of like Babysitter's Club when Netflix made it. And like we're adults, but it was what I read. So it was very exciting.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Audrey.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Audrey.
I can't leave fast enough.
So this is Addie. Addie is my oldest, and she is 17 and a senior in high school, and very much into the rhythm of applying for colleges and getting responses. And she's pretty much decided what she's going to do. But anyway, Addie, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and some of your favorite hobbies and things you like to do besides getting in car accidents? Okay. And totaling your car.
Yeah.
Everybody has to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I like nursing. And that's what I've applied to colleges for as my major is nursing. I got into SUU for nursing, so I'm gonna do that in the fall. I like dance, and I like
Boys.
boys.
He cycles through them.
I do cycle through them, but we're not going to talk about it right now. And I like reading. I like reading a lot of books. So.
And what are the typical kinds of books that you are drawn to usually?
It just depends. Lately, like Colleen Hoover. She's really, I love her books so much. I bought like 4 of them.
Yeah, see, that's why they're in my house. I've never read them.
And I like the older, like Jane Austen and Charlotte Bronte and like F. Scott Fitzgerald. All of those people, those ones are good.
So aren't you super excited that, like, if we do a book by Jane Austen, will you listen to them?
Yeah, I would.
We'll get a listener.
Well,
One
you
more.
guys did The Secret Garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I listened to that one.
Oh,
You did?
Yeah.
I can't. Can you talk to my kids?
Sure.
They won't listen to me. Sydney says she doesn't have time. Like, you do drive in your car, you know, you could listen while you're driving. That's funny. Yeah, Sydney loves Colleen Hoover too, right? Big. I was kind of, I don't know. I don't think she wants me to read Colleen Hoover because she's probably afraid then they'll say you can't read it. But like when I first found out that her teacher had given it to her, I was like, what?
Really?
And then I just gave up.
Interesting. Okay.
You're gonna read what you're gonna read.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick one up eventually.
Sydney's like, no, don't read these. Oh, I don't know. Which one should I start with, Addie?
That's a good question. I have crap. Concussion brain, just a second.
It starts with us.
Oh, it starts with us.
I've seen that one.
Or
everywhere.
It ends with us. It ends with us. That one's the first
Would you do
one.
that?
And
that one's first.
It starts with us. Is the second one.
We have that one in our house, both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have heard lots of things about Verity. That's one of Sydney's favorites.
Yeah, and she just released one, Never Never, and I want to read it.
Is that the newest one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Verity's old.
Trip to the bookstore.
Oh, okay. Another trip to the bookstore.
Another trip to the bookstore. As soon as I get my next paycheck.
I see a pattern. You do know, Addie, there's this thing called the library where they let you take books home for free.
Yeah,
I know,
that's
but
what
like
I told her.
Well,
like,
okay, here's the
save
thing.
A lot of money. It's amazing.
She
does have a library card.
Here's the thing. Okay, is why go and get it from the library when you have to give it back when you know that you'll read it again? Like, so instead of just going back and having to get it over and over and over and wasting money on gas going to the library to get it over and over and over, you could just buy it and
it's true.
Yeah.
I'm just too cheap.
Okay, so Addie, what's your book that you're going to share with us today?
I picked The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, of course.
Yeah. I love this cover in particular.
I bought this one at the bookstore as well as like 3 of the Colleen Hoover books that I have. So,
and for podcast listeners, it's like the one that's kind of got the creepy dark blue background and then just the eyes with like a tear coming down. There's not really like a defined face. It's just eyes and a tear coming down these red lips. So
it's such a good book.
I'm sure if anybody's read The Great Gatsby, most people have seen that cover, but anyway. Okay.
We're gonna do that one someday. Yes. Okay, tell us about it.
What do you love about it?
So I like how I like how it's like it's back in when the 1920s-ish, yeah. So it's like modern enough, but it's also like back then enough for me. But it's like during this time in history when like the war is kind of at its like
they're between wars.
So like the war is like at a standstill for a second and the world is basically going crazy and like it kind of shows what that all entails as far as like, because like it talks about, I don't remember where it is. It talks about how like this was the like time of partying. It's the Roaring 20s, exactly. I don't remember where it says it, but it says like, I mean, in the movie too, it's like the alcohol was cheaper, partying was big, and people had these new ideas. So that's why it's one of my favorites, is because it's like it kind of shows the perspective of what the world was like at that time. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It really digs into that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someday I'll read that.
It's
Novel Parents did that book. I don't know if you
Cool.
go listen. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to go listen.
I think I listened to it when they did it, but
100% recommend.
oh, good. Did you read it for school or because you wanted to?
So I first read it because I wanted to, and then we had to read it for school, so we kind of dug in deeper.
Yeah.
And then we watched the movie.
Okay, I was gonna say, you have seen the movie with...
Yeah, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. That's the best one.
Well, I mean, sure, there's other versions.
Yeah, there's two others.
Okay.
But they're older. I don't think they're good.
And anything else you want to say?
Not really. Is
Do
there
you
any other,
root
like...
for Jay Gatsby? Do you think he's a good guy?
I do think he's a good guy. I think
Is he fake?
I mean, it's actually really confusing because you never really get to know his background until the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're not sure if you should root for him or not. I was definitely rooting for him. But then at the same time, actually, never mind. I'm not going to say that because that's
even after you knew his story, you were rooting for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he just was trying to be a good person, but he did it in the wrong way. But he was still trying to be a good person. So, you know.
Yes.
We're all just trying to be good people.
Okay, awesome.
It's awesome. Thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.
Okay, so this is Audrey. This is my Audrey. We have two Audreys on here. And Audrey was also my baby for several years before we had our little surprise. And so she's number 5 in our family. And Audrey is 7 years old. She's in 2nd grade and she's also homeschooled. And Audrey, what are some things that you love to do? Some of your favorite hobbies?
I like swimming.
Like swimming.
And I like soccer.
Yeah, and she's quite the aggressive little soccer player. It's really fun to watch her. So, Audrey, what kinds of books do you like?
I like.
Just like what kinds? We'll talk about this one in a minute. But...
I like comics.
Oh, that's true. That's true. All my kids really like the comic books at the library. Like I'm trying so hard, and we go to the library, and they all get like Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes and Peanuts.
That's okay. They're reading something.
I know.
And they get the other stuff too. So
yes,
it's like when the kids would come home with Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Oh my god.
Every day. Audrey came home with a different one like every day.
Yeah,
I give up.
I did have to kind of outlaw those after a while because I was like, no, we need to read like other things too.
So comics. What's your favorite comic?
Garfield.
Garfield is really funny. I do have to say, I do appreciate the humor. And I think in some ways, I think it's not a bad thing because I think it makes my kids a lot more funny when they read lots of comics. I'm like, how can I argue with that? Like, get my own comedy in my home.
That's true.
So anyways, Kate, do you want to talk about your favorite book that you chose? Do you want to
I gotta get Audrey. My Audrey.
Yeah, it's another one about dragons. It's called Dragons in a Bag. It's by Zetta Elliott. Do you want to tell what it's about?
It's about a boy and he goes to like his grandma's house and he stays there for like a day and and
What does he
then
find out about her?
she's a witch.
Ooh.
And they go to like the time of the dinosaurs, and then she gets forgotten there. She gets forgotten there, and then she came back in like a long time.
Does her grandma forget her?
Okay, so the main kid in it is a little boy named Jax, and he meets up with this lady who he thinks is his grandma. She's not really his grandma, but she's kind of like that figure in his life, and finds out there's this whole world of magic that his actual grandpa is mixed up in. And so there's magic, there's time travel, there's dragons, there's baby dragons that they're supposed to be delivering anyway. So, and this is like the first book in a series. So this was kind of like setting everything up, and Audrey really liked it. So
I bet you other kids would really like that too.
yeah, I think so too.
That's awesome.
Anyway, cool. Anything else you want to say? No? Are you sure? Okay.
Thanks, Audrey. That was fun.
Hey.
God, she's
Hi,
cute.
Presley.
Hold on, we're gonna.
Oh
ask
my
you-
gosh, I love it.
Okay, so this is Presley. She is 5 and eating an airhead. And okay, keep your mouth closed. You can get it down, girl. She's in kindergarten, right? Yep.
And
she's
getting so big.
Does she
Holy
look bigger?
moly. Yes. Presley, you're coming up on almost 6, huh?
I'm not allowed to tell her.
Oh.
I already did. Yeah, she'll be 6 in February. Huh.
Coming up so soon.
And she's wearing a dinosaur dress with dinosaur pajamas under it.
Hey.
Kind of funny.
Matchy.
Right?
I like it.
Okay. So do you like to read with mom? Oh, let me think what she likes. What kinds of things do you like? Tell us what your favorite things are. Oh, she's going to show you. Okay, go grab it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Can you tell what this is?
Oh.
She likes Jack
What is-
Skellington.
I was going to say, okay, I can't remember his last name. Jack Skeleton. Is that what you were for Halloween? Were you Jack Skeleton?
Not this year. What were you this year? What were you for Halloween?
Last time I was 0.
Last year she was 0, the dog from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
Has been Jack. I think the year before that she was Jack.
Uh-huh.
What were you this year?
Ninja Turtle.
Could you hear that? Say it louder.
Say it one more time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, green tongue. Nice. Okay.
What were you this year for Halloween? Say it loud. A Ninja Turtle. She was which one?
Leonardo.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
She was gonna say that.
Oh, and your green tongue would
That
match your Ninja
matches.
Turtle costume, I bet.
And we're 5. Okay. So do you like it when mommy reads to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Show your favorite book. What is it? Can you read it? Cat Likes Red by Christopher Russo. Right? Why do you like this book?
Now we're going to tell her the number.
Oh, she wants to tell you the numbers that are on the library sticker.
Oh, okay.
Oops.
Keyboard.
It's a keyboard? Okay. Tell me the numbers. You guys tell them in the microphone.
6, 2, 8, 7, 4, 6, 9.
Yep. That's good. Okay. Why do you like this book?
Awesome.
Why do you like this book? Do you remember? I know why you like this book. It's because she can read it. Because she memorized it, right?
Hey.
So it's like
Cat likes red.
Yep, cat likes red.
Red is nice.
Red is nice. Can you hear her?
Yeah.
It's this rewarding.
Oops, we missed a page. Okay, what's that one say?
Cat likes yellow.
And then what?
Yellow. Yellow is nice.
I think you get the picture.
How fun. I've never seen that book before.
So she can't.
That looks really
I mean,
pretty.
we're learning letters, but we're not
Yes.
reading yet. But she likes these books that she can read.
Well, that's really nice with the kind of repetition that it's
U,
giving.
C,
So,
F, F.
Yep, she knows her letters, huh?
yes, you do.
Yesterday, she was asking me how to spell my name, and she was in the other room, and I was yelling the letters, and she came and she had written my name. So,
Oh, good job. So you're
Huh.
writing and everything. Holy moly, Presley.
tell you what, my name is Laura.
No, tell.
Okay, I'll do it later. Okay. Can you say goodbye to Amity? Say thank you.
No, I want to do more.
Oh, do more. Okay, tell us
Okay, let's
what else do you
show her
like
one
to
more
do
book.
besides, do you like to do gymnastics? Or, oh, you're going to show me another book?
Or you can do some questions.
Oh, do some questions?
Yeah.
Okay, do you like soccer?
Yeah. But
Yeah?
I don't have it anymore.
You're not doing soccer anymore? Okay.
Okay, these are some of her other favorite books. What are they?
Dinosaur.
The dinosaur books. Have you
I
guys read
love
these?
those ones. Yes.
How do dinosaurs go to school? These are the ones we have right now. How do dinosaurs stay safe? She loves these, and she's always arguing with them. Like, that's not how you stay safe, right?
She's like, I strongly disagree.
Yeah.
And those ones are by Jane Yolen and Mark Teague.
Yep.
Is that what it says?
Yep. And there's tons of them, right? I mean, there's
Yes.
like, how do dinosaurs make friends?
Yeah.
You want to show
I
her?
love it. I think it's a brilliant series.
2,
Oh, she's gonna read
Oh.
the numbers.
7,
The skew number.
O, O, 9,
Okay, we'll get this done.
4, 7,
What's the last one?
1.
Awesome. Okay, give me 5. Okay, thanks, Audrey. Or, you're not Audrey. Thanks, Presley. Love you.
Thanks, Presley.
Okay, go find
I'm
Daddy.
so happy to see you. I know. I love it.
Okay,
I bet it was
bye.
a tasty airhead. Bye, Presley.
Hi, Ridley. You look older too.
Oh, I think I am.
She looks more like Addie.
You think?
Maybe it's just like becoming a tween.
Yep. And she is. We love it. Okay, so this is my Ridley, and Ridley is 11, and she's in the 5th grade. She just turned 11, like a month and a half ago? Anyway, so she just has a later birthday. And what are some things that you love? What do you want to tell us about you, Ridley?
I love to act. That's a new hobby. And I love to bake and do soccer.
Soccer, baking, and acting.
Did you do soccer while you were acting?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was a little wild. We were like, should we do this? And I was like, I think it'll be okay. And it actually ended up being okay. I think
Only missed
that
2 soccer
I think there
games.
was maybe 2 soccer, maybe 2, if that many, and maybe like 1 or 2 practices. So anyway, so yep, that's what she loves. So Ridley, what kinds of books do you generally like to read?
Ones that I can relate to. Those are the ones I like to read.
For example,
Like this one, Red, White, and
Okay.
Full, and like Babysitter's Club, and Boxcar Children.
oh.
Yeah.
super fun books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I used to read Babysitter's Club. Did you, Amity?
I totally did. And they've kind of like revamped it a little bit. It's like the same idea. And although I don't know if they've taken the old ones and just given them a new look, or if they've like rewritten new ones, but do they have pictures in them? Because they almost look like, okay.
No, they don't.
Okay, so they've just given them a new look.
Cool.
So what book are you going to share with us?
Red, White, and Whole.
Okay, do you want to hold it up?
Yeah.
So it's Red, White, and Whole, and who's the author?
LaRocca.
Okay.
I think.
we shouldn't have taken my kids get these like this was brand new.
Now it's dirty.
Like 2 months ago, it was brand new. And it had a nice book jacket on it. But they like to take the book jackets off. So, okay. So her name is Rayani LaRocca. And I'm really sorry if I butchered that. But yeah. So do you want to tell us about Red, White, and Whole?
So it's basically just this life of this girl that's from India. And she moved to America. And it's like all her struggles and things like that.
She's in middle school.
Yeah,
right?
she's in middle school.
Imagine the struggles of middle school only magnified because you are in a new, not just a new school, but an entirely new country.
Mm-hmm. And she like has struggles because her mom is sick, and she has to she has a life inside school and a life outside of school. And so it's just kind of her like boggling around, I guess. And so, yeah. And this one, it has a really good story to it and it's just an
Did
awesome
you
book.
cry at the end?
Kind of. I'll admit to that. I kind of did.
Do you usually cry at the end of books? No?
My mom's like, I can't finish this.
Did you read it to them?
What's that? This one I did not read to her, but there's been several that some of my other kids have had to just say, "Okay, I'll just finish it because I'll get to the end and start crying so hard that I can't read anymore."
Like, what was the one? It was like paper mache or something like that.
Oh, 1,000 Paper Cranes. That one. Have you heard of that one? It was Sadako and 1,000 Paper Cranes. Good grief.
Yeah, I think I ended up reading the end of that.
I think so too. But there's several. So yeah, this one's really. I didn't read the whole thing, but I got familiar with the story because this is one that she was reading for language arts, and so with their language arts, we do a lot of discussion together. So I get familiar with the stories just that way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you found it through school?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Is it like a series or is it like a standalone book?
This one is a standalone.
Yeah.
I believe.
And it's not chapters, it's more like poems, kind of.
Yeah, it's written in verse. Do you want to open it up and you can kind of see which is kind of unexpected, especially for this age, but it's very beautifully done.
Yeah. And it's super easy to read, and I can just.
Yeah, it's fast, right? Because
there's
not very many words on the page.
Which I like.
That's awesome. So who do you think would like to read that? What kind of person do you think would like to read that book?
Like tweens or teenagers or anything like that.
Do you think if they hadn't ever read a novel in verse, do you think they would like it?
I think it would be a good starter.
Because it's not, there's no rhyme in it at all. And I think that could be a little bit more difficult if there was rhyme, honestly. But it's not. It's just the way that really the words are arranged on the page.
Okay.
It's not difficult. It's actually it runs very smoothly. So
I like books like this.
I have to admit, I've never read a novel in verse.
Well, I think for me, I get a little bit, I'm like, I don't know. Because sometimes those ones are very dramatic. And I just don't know how I feel about that. But I say that, but at the same time, I've read several that way and I've usually really enjoyed them. So I guess I should have turned off. But
cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ridley. And I heard that you like to listen to us.
Yes. For some reason, just I go and clean my room while I listen to it.
We appreciate it. But thanks, Ridley. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
So sticky cute.
Okay. So this is Cass. He is my youngest and he is 19 months old. 19 months old. Can you say hi? No, he's just going to breathe heavy into the microphone. Okay. But this is his well, okay, we'll talk about what he likes to do. He likes to kick balls. He likes to throw balls. He likes to just kick random things. And he's learning how to talk. And his book, oh, he's going to hold it up. His favorite book that we read about 900 times a day. And I told you that I needed to actually find a copy of it because the book that we usually read to him, it's at the kid care where I work and he comes to. And so I was at Costco the other day and they had this whole package of little Dr. Seuss board books and it just happened to be there. And I was like, sweet. So the others are tucked away for Christmas. And this one we were able to get out and we've read it many times since then. So his favorite book is Mr. Brown, Can Moo, Can You? By Dr. Seuss.
Does he say moo?
Yes. Can you say moo? What's the cow say?
It's a big smile.
You know what does the cow say? Do you say moo?
Then.
Yeah, good job. What does the bee say? Can Mr. Brown buzz like a bee? He goes buzz. Yeah.
Bitches.
Yeah. There you go. That's right. So yes, we go through the book many times, and he like I go like this for the bee. I'm like, zzz, and like put my fingers together, and he's starting to do that too.
Oh, cute.
So, and he makes the pop sound and the clop sound. Anyway, it's a really cute little book full of sounds, and so the kids love it.
We had that book for Presley, pretty sure.
Awesome. Yeah.
I probably passed it on, but Pop.
Oh no. Yeah.
Wrong. What wrong? No.
Yeah, that's Mr. Brown, huh? Is Mr. Brown can moo? Can you moo? Say moo. Or not. Okay.
Well, he was
Okay.
talking really good. He knew this was a podcast.
Yeah. Lots of gibberish.
Rude, bitch.
Yeah. Hey, can you say bye-bye? Say bye-bye. Oh, bye-bye. Yeah, there you go. Good job. Okay. All right. Do you want to go with Gigi? Okay, so this is Tate. Tate is 15 and he's a sophomore in high school. And Tate, what are some things that you love?
Okay, some things I love. I love playing football and baseball and hanging out with friends.
He's a very high school boy.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So, okay, so Tate, what are the typical kinds of books that you are drawn to usually?
Okay, usually like mystery books, like the suspenseful kinds. I really enjoy reading those. Just something like you don't see the ending at the beginning of the book, like you see a lot.
A really good twist. Do you have some examples off the top of your head?
I think like there's some of like the Michael Bay books that are pretty good. The Theodore Boone books are pretty good. I also enjoy like I like the Father Brown books quite a bit, just like some of the classics. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt liked those.
Yeah, Matt likes them too. And I'm gonna jump in and say that he also really likes biographical historical books. Like you really liked the Killing series by Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite of those?
I liked the Killing Lincoln one. That one was really cool. Yeah.
Have you read very many of those?
I've read just Killing Jesus.
Okay, well that one I thought was like amazing. Awful, but amazing. But have you read Killing the SS?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Killing the SS was like edge of your seat.
Wow.
It was, in fact, I think Ken listened to that one when we were driving somewhere one time, and it he kept him very alert the whole time, and he just like couldn't stop it because it's so good. And it's kind of a longer one too, but it's really good. So yeah.
How do you think you've read all of them?
I think I've read like 5 of them.
Yeah, several. And I noticed that 2 more have recently come out. Killing the Legends. It's like the Curse of Celebrity or something like that, because it features like Elvis and Muhammad Ali and one other. And then there was another one that I just saw. Oh, Killing the Terrorists. Something like that. So
he ran out of people. So he has to go with like groups.
maybe so. Well, I think that one might be specifically surrounding like Osama bin Laden. I could be wrong, but anyway.
Okay, Kate, I have a couple questions. My first question is, do you like to read paper books or listen to books?
I like both. I like paper books more just because I can like reread things. Like with audiobooks, you have to rewind it or whatever. I like just being in control of reading it more, I guess.
Okay, my next question is, when do you read? Because you're super busy.
During lunch at school. Usually I like go somewhere with friends, but if not, I just like sit in the library and do my homework and then just like read. Or just like before I go to bed.
Will you marry one of my daughters? I told Katie the other day, she was dating a guy, and I said, does he like to read? She's like, no. And I said, well, you can't trust anybody that doesn't bring a book with them, like Lemony Snicket, you know? And she's like, well, I guess you can't trust either of us. I'm like, you need to marry somebody who likes to read. She didn't.
Yeah. She didn't appreciate that so much.
No. I'm like, I'm just kidding. But really, you need to learn how to read, Katie. That's awesome.
No, but for real though.
Yeah. Audrey reads in the library, I think, at lunch and like her free period. She'll go in there and check books out, which is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think like it was kind of nice because I think that the librarian at the high school that my kids are going to now, they started going to this high school in the middle of the year because we moved, and so that was kind of hard. But the librarian was kind of one of their first friends.
Yeah.
Because she got to know them really quickly, and she was so nice and really helpful, and it was kind of awesome.
That is awesome.
They're like, if we don't know what else to do, we'll go to the library.
Yeah. I always said like, okay, so like Audrey, she did it. Kids that read often don't have to have friends because their friends are their books, which I think is fantastic. Like you're kind of self-sufficient. You don't need to rely on.
Well, you're not relying on other people.
Yeah.
You do have other friends because that's good and healthy, but you don't have to have them for your sustenance.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Anyways, books can be your friends too.
Totally.
Awesome. Tate, do you have like a favorite book, or were you just gonna tell us what you like to read?
Okay, so the one that I have is To Kill a Mockingbird. So we read this in my language arts class last year. And yeah, I really liked it. It's a really good book.
I've heard don't read the second one.
What's the second one?
Yeah.
I haven't even picked that up because I've also heard the same thing. So
yeah, it's not the same.
Maybe you should give it a try, but
I can't remember what it's called. But like she didn't even finish it. It was like, yeah, like maybe she'd written it, but it didn't even like edit it. You know what I mean? Because she died before it was published. But yeah, I've heard don't read the second one. But someday I want to read that.
So good. So Tate, who is your favorite character in To Kill a Mockingbird?
Okay, I haven't read it in a second, but probably Jem, which is Scout's brother. Yeah, he's just kind of like her protector throughout the whole book. And yeah, I really liked his character.
I love that because he's kind of one that's maybe an underrated character, because a lot of times when you ask somebody, they're going to say, oh, Atticus or Scout or any number of others, but Jem really is. He is kind of a hero in the book for sure.
Yeah.
So love that.
Yeah, that's gonna be one we have to do, or I just have to read on my own, I guess.
No, I think that we should. There's lots to talk about with that book. So
Cool.
anything else that you want to say about it?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Thanks,
Yep.
Tate.
Thanks, Tate.
Yep.
Have a seat. He looks horribly old. I'm just warning you.
You do look old. Hi, Charlie. How are you?
I'm good.
He'd be better if I wasn't making him do this.
But thank you for being a good sport.
Okay, so Charlie, tell us what kind of stuff you like to read.
I like to read either like nonfiction or sci-fi, pretty much. Mostly.
Cool. So nonfiction is huge. So any kind of nonfiction, you like biography, you like self-help, you like
Just
computer books.
Anything I'm interested in, just like history or I don't know, like self-help books, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
He used to be interested in politics, but then he
Cool.
came home from his mission not interested in that at all.
Okay.
Not really.
And he used to also really love fiction. And then like the older he grew up, the less that I'm sad. But
Didn't appeal so much.
now
So what's a nonfiction book that you read recently?
I have a few books I'm like working on.
Mhm.
I just read actually there's one I read Meditations by
Oh.
Marcus Aurelius, which is kind of random.
That's
No.
that's amazing. That's like a classic. Very cool.
I'm like, who is this kid?
Super impressive.
And
Very
then what
cool.
are you're listening to something right now that's very, very long.
I'm listening to Dune.
Oh, okay. And what do you think so far?
I'm reading Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is it's the Blade Runner, like the Blade Runner movies, it's the book.
Okay.
Was that
Cool.
nonfiction?
Yes, it is nonfiction.
Did you ever read the books Dad likes or no?
Oh wait, no, it's not nonfiction. It's fiction.
It's fiction. Oh, hey, he's reading fiction. Woo!
I was going to say, I think it might be fiction, but you probably know
I'd never
better
heard of that
than me.
before. But did you ever read the Jack Reacher books or no?
No.
No. Okay. So, and Charlie just started school and he's taking a writing class and he hates it.
Oh, okay. And where are you going to school?
Lane Community College.
Oh, okay, cool. So, and are all of your classes on campus or are you doing any online?
Just the writing classes, in person, but I have a math class and an economics class.
Okay.
Online.
Okay.
And yeah, he wants to be an architect. So next term, he's going to take drafting and he's excited.
So that will be fun.
The U of O.
Okay, cool. That will be really fun. Good for you.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So why do you hate the writing class?
It's not like writing, it's just the teacher's not good.
Oh,
So,
okay.
The teacher doesn't tell them
writing. It's just
the teacher doesn't tell them like when stuff is due and what they're supposed to be doing. It's like he's super
it's
confused.
just like super all over the place.
okay.
He said, I'm never taking a class again until I look at like the Rate Your Teacher website or whatever.
Isn't that amazing that that's a thing?
Yeah, I know. It's like you got to know when things are due.
Yeah.
In my opinion. All right. Well, thanks, Charlie. Do you want to tell us anything else about you? There is not much about
I want to know, like, what were your thoughts on meditations? What did you get out of it? Everything? Like, go ahead.
I don't know. I liked a lot of stuff in it. It's just kind of like the basic idea, I guess, of like the whole book would be that I don't know how to put it into words exactly. Like to kind of like control the things that are in your control, I guess. Like the things that are outside of your control, you shouldn't worry about as much. Like they're just like other people are outside of your control, and like what kind of happens in your life isn't always something you can control, but you can learn how to deal with that and make the best of anything, I guess.
Wisdom for the ages, right? Like it's something that we're still trying to figure out, but he figured that out a long time ago.
The funny thing is somebody makes fun of me for thought work, and he just told you a bunch of thought work. So it's not different. You just said he's always like, it's just all your thoughts. Yep, it is. All right. Thanks, Charlie.
Awesome. Thanks, Charlie. Good to see you.
All right. Okay. So these are our husbands. This is David. And he's thrilled to be on this podcast today.
And this is Ken. He's also thrilled.
Let's see. Let's ask them first. What you thought. David said, do you want me to be honest? What did you think when I first said I wanted to do a podcast? And I said, and Amity said she'd do it with me.
I don't know. I thought it might happen. I bought you a microphone. So
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. I thought you probably didn't need another thing to do, but I think this is a great hobby. Seem to be enjoying it. So
he was also very scared to listen to it because he's like, what if it's really, really bad?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I was scared to listen to it too. So
well, me too. Did you hear that? I told my mom, I like edited our first one and I was like, I called her and I'm like, Mom, I'm pretty sure it doesn't suck.
yeah, I was impressed the first one I listened to. I'm like, wow, this sounds just like a podcast.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. No, that's like cause for celebration. So how about you? Thoughts?
It's always been good. I mean, I know on our end, Am's always done a lot of different projects and very busy. And with a lot of good things. So it didn't surprise me when there was another project, and she said, hey, what we're going to do is books. And I know that you all did book groups up in Oregon when we lived there for the longest time. And you got together quite often and, just shared a lot of ideas and thoughts and spent a lot of good time together. So I thought, what a good way to not only keep that going, but also talk about something you love doing. And I was kind of like David. My first listen was actually to Beth Newell's podcast. So shout out to Beth. She's got a good podcast too. I listened to a few of hers and they're awesome. But hearing both of you there was kind of like, it became real because what David just says, like, holy cow, it's a podcast. And then I've been watching, I actually just plug into the YouTube feed because I kind of like to see faces too.
Views on YouTube.
Yeah. I like to be a subscriber and do a few views there. So, but just kind of listening and watching there is just the reality of that, like talking about really good books, and it's a really good podcast. So I'm really happy with it. So it's awesome.
I always tell people I would prefer you didn't watch the YouTube version. I don't want to watch it, but that's okay.
That's okay. For this YouTube video, I know Am's going to probably sub in a good looking guy like this. Photoshop someone.
She puts a cardboard cutout on the
or just hovers someone's face over mine for
yeah, you have somebody picked out, Ken.
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
There you go.
That would not be my pick. That would be his pick.
Same haircut.
Yeah. There you go.
So I guess we can jump into talking about books. So what kinds of books are you guys drawn to normally? Ken, you should start.
So traveling at different times, whether it was driving or just on traveling. I mean, Laura, you always talked about how kind of your book experience has been through your travels and you're doing a lot of windshield time. Well, I've done that over the years and kind of started with books on CD back before a lot of the technological advances and moving forward. So I remember I always enjoyed Tom Clancy. I kind of like the political kind of, espionage spy kind of thriller. So those, I've always enjoyed those. The Pelican Brief, books like that. So I don't know, some of those kind of noir crime drama, I always like those. But then, historical books, I really enjoy Bill O'Reilly's The Killing series. I think those are pretty incredible. I know it was last year we were on a road trip and we were listening to killing the SS. So Hitler's, his evil, horrible police force. And I'm driving along in like Oregon to Idaho, that drive, and it's like a 9 or 10 hour audio book. And I look down at the odometer a few times. I'm going like 95 because it's the parts where they're going into Argentina or Brazil and they're extraditing, or, these covert operations to take out these officers of the SS. So books like that, I really enjoy those. And then even with our kids, just reading just the classics, listening to Am read in voice a lot of books. So kind of doing that. And yeah, so I think that's for me kind of foundationally where I like to go to and things I enjoy reading or listening to.
Awesome.
What about you, David?
Wow. I don't read a lot of books. I read a book occasionally, right? I read a lot. It's usually news or articles about different things, right? Whatever I want to learn about or I'm interested in at the moment. But I don't know, I read a lot of the classics growing up, as forced by school, right? And then I don't know, the largest series of books I ever read was the Lee Child's Jack Reacher series. I don't know, there was 20 some odd books in that series, read all of
I didn't
those.
realize it was that huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
The funny story about this is, so he reads a book a year, and it was usually the Jack Reacher book that comes out, and he reads so much faster than I do. Like, he'd read it in 2 days.
Okay.
I mean, he's faster like in time, but he's also like, if he's reading a book, that's all he's doing.
Okay.
So
dedicated.
Yeah, I don't know, my when I start reading a book, my mind really gets wrapped up in it, and it tends to be all that I think about in the moment. But I don't know, I don't ever reread books.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few that I ever have. I don't know, I read it and I can't get back into it again. I've picked up a couple before and like, I already know this story.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
yeah. I just think it's funny that he's like so much I mean, he's a faster reader than I am, and I read all the time.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
So tell us what you're reading right now, because he is reading something right now. And so I was complaining about this the other day. I'm like, put your book down and pay attention to me. And he's like, you're always begging me to read, and then I get a book and read, and now you want me to pay attention to you. So anyways, tell him about what you're reading.
Right now I'm reading Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I'm not sure how to say it. I've never read anything by him before. He wrote The Martian, which I haven't read. I've seen the movie. But yeah, I like I like crime thrillers, right? Mysteries. I like science fiction stuff. I like to think about how things work or might work and how things could work in the future, that type of thing.
Yeah. So is that what Project Hail Mary is? It's like a sci-fi thriller?
Well, yeah, so it's a sci-fi. It's kind of set in our present time with our present technology, but something happens. There's this, well, they don't know what it is. It's like this alien, single organism alien that's reproducing rapidly, and using our sun as an energy source, and so it's depleting our sun and many other suns or stars, nearby, and they've got to figure it out quickly. And the main character, well, it's funny because he's a junior high school science teacher, but he was formerly like more heavily into the main sciences, but he got kind of pushed out by the science community years back because he had a theory about alien life that disagreed with the rest of the science community, right? But this new thing comes up and they're like, hey, this is like that paper you wrote years ago. So he gets kind of wrapped up in it, and well, he's the main character, and I'm only like, I don't know, third of the way of the book now, but
okay,
he's on his own in a spacecraft that they sent him out in. His crewmates have died. And he's
kind of like the Martian.
Yeah, kind of like the Martian, but he's about to meet some aliens in a spacecraft that happen to be in the same star system that he's traveled to. So it's interesting.
The funny thing is, so he texted me and he said, I want you to get me a book at the library. I'm like, okay, what is it? He goes, Project Hail Mary. I'm like, oh, I know that book. And he's like, you do? And I said, yeah, I know all the books. But I also know I couldn't read it because it's too sciencey.
Too much sci-fi. Do you like nonfiction? Like, will you ever read, like, have you ever read any by Robert Monroe? Like his How to Shoot Fairies or anything? Because they're, I don't know.
I mean, I've read,
You read that book called like The Science of God.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that one was.
Yeah, I don't. The author was Jewish. I don't remember what his name was. I've read, like purely scientific novels that are, about theoretical physics, stuff like that.
Can't be like, kill me.
That's awesome, though. Cool. Love
it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm reading this book now because one of my coworkers mentioned it. We were talking about something else, science or space related. I don't recall at the moment, but he brought up, oh, it's like this book, Project Hail Mary. And so we were talking about it, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to read that. So here we are.
He works with a 22-year-old genius.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't a coworker, but yeah.
It was a different one.
I work with a unique group now. I don't know. We work on a lot of Department of Defense projects, and it's really interesting.
Wow.
Really, well, they're in different fields than I am. I'm kind of I'm there as a mechanical engineer, kind of the nuts and bolts guy.
So it's like a gathering of different disciplines.
Yeah. Well, we do optical coding.
Awesome. Anything else? Are you reading something now?
Yeah.
So it's been really cool with you doing this. It's kind of inspired me that way because when I was listening to, like I said, I listened to Beth's podcast with kind of introducing your idea and your podcast, kind of that launch thing and that part. You talked about The Refugee. I know Am's read that, you read it. And I just started thinking about really good books. And I was like, wow, there was because I know Am's talked about that one. I haven't started that one yet, but it kind of inspired me to kind of go back and revisit some of the classics, books that I've read and really like. So not a classic, but Am and I, we picked up a book, kind of a marriage help book, His Needs, Her Needs, great book. So read that one very recently. Dickens, the holiday season's here. So revisiting A Christmas Carol, the novel, just going through that. But then A Tale of Two Cities, I've been kind of going back through that. And then I just read Fahrenheit 451, and I was telling Am earlier today, I was like, reading that now because I read it in high school. You know, it was one of those kind of your reading requirement. And it was one of those novels that was like, oh, this has to be read. And it was a great book, I remember. But reading it now is like, oh my gosh. As an adult and as, you know, looking at life through kind of a different lens and through experience and reading that story now, it was way different and really kind of eye-opening and jarring in a way, because I was like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of parallels to the world we live in. So, you know, reading you know, Ray Bradbury, reading that was really good. So I just finished that, read that again. So I did revisit that one, and there'll be a few more I do that way. So no, but it's been fun because I've kind of been looking back through reading lists and kind of books that I really enjoyed over the years. I'm like, I need to reread some books. So you guys have inspired me to do that, and it's been pretty awesome.
So our podcast is working on one person. No, that's not true. My mom too. The two people. No, that's perfect. That's exactly what our goal is.
Well, so far I'm very proud of myself because I've read both the books that you reviewed, which I was surprised. Like, hey, I read this a long time ago, right?
When you were 8.
Yeah, well, I read what was Where the Red Fern Goes. I mean, I really remember reading that book, like one of the books I really remember, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I was probably 11, 12, somewhere in that age. I don't, maybe a little younger even, but it was the first time I read a book, and like, you know, I cried in it, you know, reading it, and I'm like, you know, didn't know that a book could do that to you, right? So it was a new experience for me. Because before, the reading material was, I don't know, I don't remember what I read before then, right? But
yeah,
but that's the first book I remember really reading and it affecting me.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
I think Where the Red Fern Grows for me that way was the same way, kind of revisiting that. It was kind of going back in my own feelings in childhood. And I don't know how he did that, but he did it because it's always the thoughts you have of your dog or a lot of those things. And just that's the thing, was go back through, like, I don't want to cry again. Because I remember crying as a kid, but even as an adult, crying for different reasons, because it still is such a powerful and amazing book that just, it transcends everything. Because I think, Laura, when you were talking about, when I was listening to the podcast on it, and you were talking about how he described some things, and like instantly you're like transported yourself back to where you had certain memories and thoughts. Like you're on that street in your hometown and you're kind of re-seeing everything. And I was like, that's so true, because there was so much stuff from that book and just kind of bringing up those kind of memories. It was like, wow, that's amazing. And I think that's what's magical about books, is they take us to places where, you know, our imagination, our mind creates the scene. I think more often than not, that's why I know I'm disappointed when I see movies, for the most part, you know, they're kind of off of the book, because I'm like, no, that's not how it was. Because my brain, you know, that's not how that person should look. But
picture you made,
yeah, but that one for me was, I'm glad you guys started with that book, because that's a pretty special one. And like, if you wanted to really start with a good book, that's probably one of the best. So good job. Good choice.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, and a lot of people have read that and The Secret Garden.
Yeah.
So I know my sister was like, I'm not listening to that episode because she's just too sensitive. But I'm like, you're not going to cry during our episode. It's not like, it's not the same as reading it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Such a good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys for doing this. Like, it's a lot of fun, and hopefully we get to read a lot more books. I was telling Am, I was reading it. I'm starting A Tale of Two Cities, and she said that might be on the list soon. So I'm excited to talk to her about it as I go through it again and listen to that podcast. So
yeah, it should be, I'm thinking February.
Yeah.
Do guest input on it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can we make a request though? Are you guys gonna do the Count of Monte Cristo?
We are someday. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So this is our oldest daughter, Katie, and she's clearly the only one that isn't in both either of our houses. She's out of state going to school at she's going to school to be an esthetician. So we miss her. We get to see her next week for Thanksgiving. So when this episode airs, she will be home.
Awesome.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, because it will have been a while. Because you haven't been home since school started, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen my family since August.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah.
We miss
That's a long
her.
time. How long do you get off for Thanksgiving break?
So I'll be in town from Thanksgiving till like Tuesday. So Thursday to
Okay.
Tuesday.
Okay. So a few days.
Yeah.
Not very long, and we
Okay.
probably wouldn't have brought her home, but my family is celebrating Christmas, like my parents and siblings, and so we're like, she can't miss that, so we have to send her
Yeah.
home because
Yeah.
my brother's coming from Montana. So
Okay. So they're just doing Thanksgiving and Christmas.
we're
Awesome.
gonna do Thanksgiving on Thursday, Christmas on Friday.
Party.
That's
That's
right.
awesome. That'll be super fun.
It'll be fun. So this is also my child that would rather stare at the wall than read a book.
I am her.
So we love her anyways. So I've been bugging her for like a few weeks to at least listen to a book so she could share something with us, but it didn't happen. So we're going to recommend books to you. So, but before I do, tell us a little bit about you. Besides going to school to be an esthetician, what do you like to do?
I would say I like to be outside a lot. I like to always be doing something. I like to be around people, so I love to be around my friends, family. I think that I love to hike actually, and cook, and I love to go shopping and all the fun things.
Those are all fun things. Have you found some good hiking spots around where you are?
Yes, but not anymore because it's freezing
Well,
cold already.
yes, true. Touche. Yeah. It's very cold.
Have you done the Y yet?
No.
Oh.
People keep going to, it's called Mount Tip,
Mhm.
and it's like an all night hike that
Yeah.
people do.
Well,
I
or
don't know
all
if
day,
I-
whichever one you choose, but yes.
Oh yeah. But I don't know if I can. It's long. It's a long hike.
So Katie, so she told me that she likes suspenseful books. Well,
They have to keep me hooked, or I can't keep reading them.
okay, have you tried listening to books?
No, I have not.
Okay, that's my first suggestion. Because you could be doing something while you're
Okay.
listening to it. And like if you're doing something that takes no thought, then it's easy to pay attention. You can't be doing anything that like I has to be like something I don't even have to think, right? Like I'm folding laundry or picking stuff up around the house.
Like
Yes.
driving, cleaning, anything like that.
Yeah.
Walking, hiking.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So I would start with that. I would try that and see if you like it. So a couple of years ago, I bought you a book that I'm now going to suggest to you again. Because I read it and I was like, you would love this book. It's called Grown, and I think it's by Jessica Jackson. Okay. So Tiffany Jackson. Sorry. I don't know who Jessica Jackson is. Okay. So it's about this young girl who is being like, it's kind of like the story of R. Kelly. So it's a singer who's like, what's the word? Grooming this young girl, this young black girl. And like, he's abusive. He becomes abusive where he's like, has total control over her. He separates her from her family. And then he kind of makes her think that she's crazy. And nobody will believe her. nobody believes her because she thinks nobody believes her because of the color of her skin, and she's a woman. And so the whole book, you're like, is she crazy? Or like she sees things, and you know what I mean? Like, is she crazy? Is he really doing these things to her? Because then he'll like turn around and act like he's not. Katie, I'm telling you, if you would give reading a chance, I think there's books for everybody.
Think so?
Yeah. If you don't like to read,
sounds
you just
really
haven't,
good.
yeah, you just haven't found the right book.
Or listen to it.
Yeah. I don't know when you could, but
when I could listen to it.
Yeah, like because you can't listen at work, right?
No, but a lot of times at school, we are like doing things on each other, and so I can wear headphones and like listen to music, or like I'll like listen to podcasts, or I'll listen to like talks. Sometimes I listen to talks when I'm like
That's awesome.
doing stuff because it's actually entertaining, and sometimes it can be a little
boring.
The day is very long, so break.
So you need something.
We need to get you an Audible account.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, Amity, do you got anything for her?
Yeah. So what I was thinking is, like, if I was having a hard time getting into books, for me, the books that are the most interesting are the ones that are well written about real people. And I don't necessarily mean biography. I mean like historical fiction that's written really well. And it does talk about a real person. And I think if you want suspense, or you want things that keep you like engrossed, I think maybe start with some World War II stuff. And maybe that's like super intense, but it will keep you engaged. It's really good stuff. So one of the first ones that I thought of, and especially if you wanted one that's just like short and extremely impactful, and it is considered a children's book, but like anybody would read it and just end up in tears. So it's called Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes. And it's about this little, and it's by Eleanor Coerr, I think is how you say her last name. And it's about this little girl who, we don't necessarily often hear about all the fallout after the bombing of Japan at the end of World War II. And so it's about this little girl named Sadako, and she gets cancer because of, all the radiation and everything. And her request is that everybody folds these little paper cranes. And so there's children and people all over the world that are contributing these paper cranes to her. And anyway, it's a beautiful, very sweet story. It's like that thick, and it's really tiny, but amazing read, very impactful. And it's one that you just go like break your heart, and it's one that makes you go, oh my gosh, this is what books can do. And anyway, it's beautiful. And then another one, just real quick, that takes place directly during the war is called The Light in Hidden Places. I love it so much. It's about a 16-year-old girl. I've talked about it a million times, and it's by Sharon Cameron, and it's about a real girl named Stefania Pogorska, who, when she was 16, she had full charge of her little 6-year-old daughter, and she ended up saving 13 Jews. She hid them in her little attic for a couple of years. And on top of that, she housed 2 Nazi nurses in her house. So she's hiding 13 Jews in her attic and housing these 2 Nazi nurses downstairs, and trying to figure out how to provide for her sister, how to provide very secretly for those 13 Jews upstairs. It's one that the entire book, you're like, okay, well, this is it. Like, they're going to find her and they're going to shoot her in the street. Like, and so maybe that's not the kind of suspense that you're looking for, but it does, like, it really pulls you in, and it's a true story. Like, it's all true, but it's written so well. And it's, again, very impactful. And she's an amazing girl who the whole time, like, she just had to keep trusting and doing the next right thing, and turning each corner, and never knowing if she was going to live to see another day, but she she did, and she survived, and she saved all these people, and she ended up marrying one of the guys that she saved. So it's great.
Amity.
That sounds very interesting. Like I would actually like that book.
I'm so happy. Yeah, I love it. I recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, Amity recommended it to me, and I read it, and then at the end I go, this was true.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know until like the end when they talk about what happened to her later, and like the fact that she actually existed. It was shocking.
Yes,
it was so good. And another one that Amity recommended to me that I think you would like is The Things We Cannot Say. I think you should like that too. That's World War II also, but it's like present day and World War II, like you flash back and forth. Mm-hmm. And it's this girl, I'm trying to remember, she goes I can't remember the story. I mean, I remember the twist at the end. Mm-hmm. But like she goes to investigate. Oh, her mother is dying, but she can't talk. That's what happens. Her mother is dying, but she can't talk. Her father had passed away, and her mom wants her to go. She has this iPad that she's touching, saying this one word. And so she goes back to, do you remember what country it is?
Well, I think, isn't it, does she go to Poland or to France?
I think it's Poland. I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
And like has to figure out this mystery that is surrounding her and her grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
It was very good. I love that book. And you just read something else by her. So yeah.
Kelly Rimmer.
Yeah. I want to read more of her stuff. Anyways, and then my other suggestion, Katie, would be like, just get a book and try to just read a page or two a night. I mean, 5 minutes. Just see what happens.
Like what you used to make us do.
Yeah.
You need to read for 15 minutes.
Well, that was the school that made you do that, but yes.
No, that's part of our chore list.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that might
be a good chore. Good chore.
I'm
also,
like,
go
ahead.
Have you read The Hunger Games?
I have not.
You should read that.
Because those are also really good. It's sort of like a futuristic dystopian novel, but it's really good. It definitely is one, like the pacing, it just keeps going, and it's you're on the edge of your seat like the whole time. So I think you would enjoy it if you got into it. So.
And you could also just try different, like try something. You don't like that genre, try a different genre. Like there's got to be something. Celebrity memoir. Oh my gosh. Some people just listen to memoirs all the time. It's fun to listen to a celebrity memoir when they read it.
Mm-hmm. Hear their voice.
Like Matthew McConaughey. Just saying.
Oh, he just wrote a book, didn't he? Like,
yeah, it was interesting. I liked listening to him for sure. But he's a little arrogant.
Okay.
I just watched a movie with him in. He's in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He talks about how in his memoir, he talks about why he stopped doing romantic comedies. So there you go.
Oh, those are the best movies.
They're the best. And that's like all he was in. Was he in anything else?
No, and he just said one day, I'm not doing that anymore. It doesn't fulfill me. It's just like, he was just taking it for the money, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So he started doing more. And he's really smart.
Yeah, that's what I gather, but
it's really interesting. So yeah, try celebrity memoir. I don't know. Good job, Katie. Was it torture?
No, I did not think it was going to be torture.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our talking to our families about all the books that they love and what they like to read, what they're usually drawn to. And I thought it was a lot of fun. What did you think?
It was fun to have them. I can't believe they all agreed to do it. But
me too. That was a lot of people. And considering that we got everybody, what was that, like 13 people that we got in here?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
It was fun.
Were you surprised by anything?
Just that they did it. No, for my kids, I was just surprised that they agreed to do it. But it was really fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope our audience enjoys getting to know them a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe when we talk about them briefly, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that kid. Or
Yes. Yeah, totally. And also seeing that like within one family or two families, whatever, like there can be every different kind of taste and style and love or not as much love. Like, so just because the mom is super into reading a certain style, it doesn't follow that everybody else is going to. It's just like reading is the thing. It's not this indoctrination that you have to read one certain style. So
yeah, isn't that interesting that we kind of do the same thing with all of them, but they all, I don't know about you, but all of my kids read different things.
mhm.
None of them,
Yeah.
they might have a little crossover, but
Sure. Yeah.
not really.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was kind of interesting that Tate said that what he really loved was like suspense books and mystery books. And I was like, oh, well, all this time I had this notion that he mostly loved like biography and historical books. Like that's what, if someone was to ask me, that's what I would say. I know that he does like those books, but I didn't realize that his favorite were suspense books. So that gives me some ideas for Christmas.
That's awesome. Yeah, and maybe this will, like the kids and our husbands giving ideas for books maybe would help somebody if they were looking for gifts.
Yeah,
That'd be
totally.
fun. Awesome. Okay. So, let's talk about next week. So we just ended Secret Garden last week. This is our like quote unquote week off. And next week, what are we starting?
Next week, I am so happy that we are going to be starting in on Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. Such a wonderful, wonderful book. And I think that we both gained so much appreciation for it over this period of time of studying it. And we're just really excited to share it with everyone. And hopefully those who maybe didn't even know it existed before, or maybe had passed over it before, or maybe have read it before and even loved it, will hopefully gain something from the discussions that we have about it, because it's so good.
Yes, I loved it. I was thinking, I loved reading it, and we finished recording all the episodes and we finished the book. So that's exciting. It's a long haul. It's going to be at least 6 episodes, I'm sure. But, and that's kind of one thing I wanted to mention was like, maybe you don't want to read it. Maybe you just kind of want to get an idea of what this book is about. And then you could just listen to the podcast and listen to a fun discussion about it, right? But the other idea is kind of a slow but steady reading. So that was one reason we wanted to do it this way, is so that, I don't know about you, but when I'm reading like a classic or a self-help book or something, I usually have another book going on at the same time. And so this is just a great opportunity to kind of break it down and go slow, if you wanted to read along with our episodes. So I'm thinking we're going to do about 10 chapters each episode.
Yes.
Right? So next week will be about chapters 1 through 10 of Far from the Madding Crowd.
Yeah.
So
super exciting.
Fun. Yeah.
We're so happy you joined us for this episode. We hope you will join us next week as we begin our discussion of Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. If you have suggestions for books we should read and discuss, please email us at thebestbookspodcast@gmail.com. We would love it if you would leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts and share our podcast with your friends. We want to inspire and encourage as many people as we can to read out of the best books.
As Thoreau says, read the best books first, or you may not have a chance to read them at all. See you next week.